All right. Thank you all. And we'll call this meeting to order at 6:02. Welcome to the City of Soledad Joint City Council Successor Agency, Housing Authority, and Successor Housing Agency regular meeting agenda. I just want to remind everyone that our meeting is also on Zoom at cityofsoledad.zoom.us/J/88685751-605. And you are also able to call at 669-900-6833 and use meeting ID 886-8575-1605. Our meeting is also streamed via YouTube. However, if you would like to make a public comment, you may only do so via Zoom. So now I will ask for a roll call.
Mayor Velasquez. Absent. Mayor Pro Tem Fernando Ansaldo Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Fernando Cabrera.
Here.
Councilmember Edrisa Benuelos.
Here.
Councilmember Ben Alvera.
Here.
All right, thank you, Darlene. So at this time, we'll move on to public comment for closed session items. So at this time, any member of the public may address the council on closed session items appearing on the agenda. Speakers shall have a limited time of 3 minutes. Please be brief and to the point. So.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak before the council. Mayor Pro Tem Sanchez, City Manager Hunter, and council members. It is a privilege to speak to you tonight on the topic of impact fees for the Soledad Unified School District Workforce Housing Project, currently under construction. I want to begin by expressing sincere appreciation for your time and thoughtful consideration and the collaborative approach the city has taken, city staff throughout this process. All the work that happens at that site is a collaboration between city staff and our folks working on the project, and we appreciate that very much. This project is critically important. It's one that is not only for the school district, but we think for the entire community. Access to affordable housing is one of the challenges facing our educators, as it is with a lot of folks, as we know. The project's a direct investment in our ability to recruit and retain high-quality teachers and staff, which ultimately benefits every student that we serve. We recognize and appreciate the efforts of the city to find a balanced solution. In a meeting last month, city staff met with district staff and worked on a framework that represents a step forward in this issue. We encourage the council to consider that, and that ensures that the district pays for appropriate share for direct services and acknowledging the unique role of public education in the broader community benefit that this workforce housing project will serve. It allows us to move forward together without delay and provide a sense of shared purpose. So again, we respectfully encourage the city council to support the framework, and we're grateful for your partnership as we value the relationship between the city and the district, and look forward to continuing this work side by side to serve Soledad. And thank you very much for your time. It's been a privilege to speak.
Thank you, Superintendent Banks. Do we have any other folks that would like to make a public comment on our closed session item? Anyone via Zoom? All right, thank you. That ends our public comment for our closed session items. We will now be recessing to closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A D2 to confer with our attorney regarding significant potential exposure to litigation, calculation, and imposition of impact fees, and we will tentatively return around 6:30 p.m. All right, thank you all so much for bearing with us. We are back from our closed session. So we will now hear from our city attorney, the closed session report.
Yeah, the record should reflect that the council conferred with legal counsel about the listed agenda item and provided direction, and no other reportable action was taken. The direction was for me to contact the, among other things, to contact the district, and I will do so tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much. We will now move on to our Pledge of Allegiance. So if I could have Mr. Burke lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you so much. And then we will now move on to additions, modifications to the agenda. Items of business may be added to the agenda upon a motion adopted by a minimum of a 2/3 vote, finding that there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of the city subsequent to the agenda being posted. Items may be deleted from the agenda upon request of staff or upon action of the council. And at this time, I do want to respectfully recommend that we remove the proclamation of the City Council of the City of Soledad celebrating Cesar Chavez Day at this time in light of recent events. While proclamations are meant to unify and uplift our community, the current moment calls for us to pause and be thoughtful about how this is being received. But at the same time, I do want to make it very clear that what has happened should be separated from the broader legacy of the farm worker movement, the contributions and sacrifices of farm workers in our region and across the state remain deeply important and worthy of recognition. So that is my recommendation. And I believe we would need a vote. I could have a roll call vote. Por favor. Aye.
Councilmember Fernando Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilmember Lisa Valos,
Aye.
Ben Caldera,
Yes. Thank you. And then I'm wondering if we do have any modifications to the
We
agenda.
do. So I did want to note that the item, for Our Lady of Solitude Parish, regarding the, street closure, they actually withdrew their application and intend to, do the procession and the activities in their parking lot. And then the second thing I wanted to note is that on the item, business item number 4, that staff indicated that they didn't include the whole bid package in the with the staff report, so they are providing the bid package on the dais. All other things are the same. The resolution, the amount.
That's the Viking painting.
Yes.
Okay.
Resolution number 6339. Correct. Viking painting. And that is it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we will now move on to public comment. So at this time, any member of the public may address the city council on items not appearing on the agenda and items of interest to the public that are within the jurisdiction of the council. A public comment card should be filled out completely to ensure the speaker is called upon to give comment. However, that is not required. Public comments are generally limited to 3 minutes. The mayor, I guess me in this case, may further limit the time for public comments depending on the agenda schedule. Please be brief and to the point. No action or discussion shall be taken on an item not appearing on the agenda. You know what? I think 3 minutes is fine, so we can do that. I know that we have a written comment, so Darlene, if you do not mind.
Thank you. This comment is from Adriana Ramelli. I'm writing to urge the city of Soledad to cover up and eventually remove the sign and name of the Cesar Chavez Park in Soledad. I grew up in Soledad and continue to visit and stay in our family home in Soledad. As a strong advocate for women's rights, the city of Soledad owes it to its community to remove and rename the park. I spent my professional career in the field of sexual assault. I was the executive director for over 40 years of the Sex Abuse Treatment Center located in Hawaii. We provided forensic medical care, counseling, and other services throughout the state of Hawaii. I was also active in all legislative policies related to children and women's rights. Please do the right thing. Perhaps rename the park in honor of Dolores Huerta and the other survivors of Cesar Chavez. Please let me know the plans of Soledad to address this issue. Thank you, Adriana Romelli.
Thank you for reading the comment. I just wanted to remind folks that the council does not typically respond to public comment. However, that point has been taken, and I'm sure we'll have some discussion at some point. Is there anyone in the chamber that would like to provide a public comment at this time? Do we have anyone joining us via Zoom? All right, last call. All right, so thank you. We will now close public comment and move on to council presentations. So at this time, I want to move to our proclamation of the City Council of the City of Soledad recognizing International Transgender Day of Visibility. This proclamation will be published on the City of Soledad website. No formal presentation will be made during the meeting, but I just wanted to recognize that March 31st is International Transgender Day of Visibility, and I look forward to the proclamation being posted on our city website. And I do also look forward to having some sort of video or something on our social media, alike to our other proclamations that we've had this year. With that being said, we will move on to our presentations portion. And our first presentation will be the CPRS Award of Excellence recognition for the Soledad Parks and Recreation Department. And we have Jessica. Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council. My name is Jessica Potts, and I am still your Parks and Recreation Director. I am pleased to share that the City of Soledad Parks and Recreation has been selected as a 2025 California Parks and Recreation Society Award of Excellence recipient in the Community Impact category for our project, Creating a Culture of Connection. The CPRS Award of Excellence recognizes innovation and measurable community impact among agencies across the state. And we are honored to be recognized alongside some truly outstanding organizations. I was honored enough to be able to go to conference this last week and witness all of the amazing projects that we are working alongside, and some really incredible things that Parks and Recreation are doing for our communities across the state, and very proud to be one of those that are being honored. This evening, we are fortunate to have, and I'm going to say your last name wrong, I meant to ask, to have CPRS Vice President Nick Kalabakwib here with us to formally present the award. Nick, thank you for being here and for your support of Parks and Recreation throughout California. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. Thank you for having me here this evening. Again, my name is Nick Kalabakib. In my day job, I am one of the deputy city managers and the parks director for the city of Watsonville, but I'm here tonight representing California Parks and Recreation Society, or CPRS, as the newly installed vice president of the state board of directors. If you don't know or aren't familiar with what CPRS is, it's the strongest professional networking structure available to parks and recreation and leisure professionals in California today. With over 4,000 members statewide, CPRS advances the parks and recreation profession and professionals who make parks and recreation thrive in California. The Parks and Recreation Society Annual Awards Program celebrates outstanding examples of quality facility and park design, programming accomplishments, effective communications, community leadership, and professional successes that take place daily in our profession. Through our 5 award categories, we highlight the people, places, spaces, programs, and stories that make communities like Soledad special. As one of the 16 Community Impact awardees, Soledad is receiving an award under the Resilient Systems subcategory for creating a culture of connection, a model for small city resilience. This year's awards program was definitely the most competitive ever, with 186 applicants statewide and only 52 awardees. As you already know, Soledad established its Parks and Rec department in 2021 as a catalyst for post-pandemic recovery and community resilience a short 5 years ago. Built on the foundation of Measure S funding, the department transformed an underutilized community center into a thriving hub that now welcomes more than 3,500 visitors each month, an impressive reach for a city of its size. Programs span youth sports, performing arts, senior wellness, workforce development, and community events that reflect Soledad's diversity and pride. The department's model emphasizes sustainable growth through local funding, grant support, and youth employment pathways that strengthen both operations and community capacity. Partnerships with schools, nonprofits, and regional organizations extend reach and deepen impact. What began as a small city response to crisis evolved into a lasting system of connection, wellness, and opportunity, a blueprint for resilience in communities of any size throughout the state of California. So again, congratulations to your Parks and Recreation Department and to the entire city of Soledad for winning the 2025 Community Impact Award of Excellence. And what I'm presenting here tonight is a one-of-a-kind award plaque that was handmade by an artist through an LA nonprofit called Piece by Piece. That nonprofit works with formerly unhoused individuals to create these beautiful pieces of art while promoting life skills and confidence and improving quality of life. So congratulations again to the city of Soledad.
So if I may have a few words in response. So thank you, Nick, and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This recognition truly belongs to the team. What we built in Soledad over the past few years has been a collective effort by staff, partners, and a community that showed up and engaged with what we were trying to create. When this department was established, the goal was simple: create opportunities for connection, belonging, and growth. It has been incredible to see the vision take shape through youth programs, community events, partnerships, and the everyday interactions that make people feel welcome. I'm incredibly proud of our staff, especially our young team members, many of whom have grown over the past 5 years, building skills, confidence, and leadership that they will carry forward with them in their future. The work our team does to serve Soledad is dedicated and community focused. Since opening, fresh out of lockdown, we've created youth sports opportunities for over 1,000 youth annually, culinary arts and performing arts programs, senior programs, and spaces that combat isolation and support continued activity. A place where community members of all ages and backgrounds can gather, stay active, and stay connected. Opportunities for community members of all abilities, and most importantly, a more connected community. As I step away from this, role and the department, I have been dedicated. Oh God, sorry.
Okay, come on.
As I step away from this department that I've been dedicated to since day one of this building, I do so with pride and gratitude for the opportunity to have been a part of something so meaningful for this community. Thank you to the council for your continued support of Parks and Recreation. It has made this work possible, and we are honored to receive this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for your dedication and your service here for the city of Soledad. On behalf of the council, we thank you so much. And I also wanted to thank you for your vulnerability. I feel like that just speaks to who you are as a person. And it's something that I don't think we should ever feel bad for because of your feelings, and it just shows how dedicated you are. Before we do recess, I do want to open it up to the council. I'm sure that they would like to share a few words as well. Want to start with Councilwoman Bañuelos?
I'm gonna cry. Jessica, I mean, it's not goodbye. But you know what, you created this team, you know what, and just the energy and then the heart that you have, all you guys, you know, and it takes great leadership and you know what, and all of you guys impose all that leadership because of Jessica, you know what, but congratulations and I thank you for coming to award them to the Parks and Recs. I just want to say thank you. You know, let's continue doing it and I'm happy that it's happening in Soledad. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Cabral.
What else can I say? I've been saying that to you. From the beginning, I know that it was hard with our community, with a couple of individuals, and you rose to be somebody that I truly never thought that it was going to be like that, and until I saw the effect that you had in people in our community, and that makes me really proud to see you and to know that you were the leader of this department. And it is painful because you don't want to lose somebody that is so great, that is strengthened that not only the community but the team. I hope that you, well, probably not hope, but I think you left and then something that is going to transform our Parks and Recreation even more. You wake up those little sorry, I've been telling you how much I respect you and how much I admire you, and it is difficult for me to say something else, but you know that, you know how I feel about it. So thank you so much, and thank you for your team. It's been there for you, and for my. The most important thing that I have when I came to this position is making sure that our community gets the best, and with you guys, our community gets the best. So thank you so much for that, for doing that. Thanks.
Councilmember Caldera.
Well, Jessica, I really appreciate you and your team. I'm choking up too, but anyways, you know, I think the best way that we can say how much we appreciate you is not just supporting you by words, but as you can see, or the history behind or after the council, you know, the support that you had from the council, any little chance we had, you know, we allocated some funds for the community center, and because we had we knew you could do it, and all the things that you did for the community, it was great. It was great. And all the stuff that I heard out there from the people, your lay people, you know, it was just nothing but positive things about you. I really appreciate your work and thank you. And I know you're going to do great anywhere you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Caldera. I also want to open it up to our city manager. I'm sure she has some words to share.
Thanks. I just wanted to say, thank you. I think it's a testament to your legacy that you have built such a solid team. And as Nick described, you know, starting off during the pandemic and building what you've been able to build. And more importantly, I think bringing up your team, guiding your team, being a great role model and a leader. And it's clear that they love you and respect you. And I think that says a lot about someone. And just seeing the youth. I mean, it's been, even in my short time here, it's been great to see how the youth have grown and taken ownership of the center. I always say the cleanest facility in the city is the community center, because the youth love the center and they are there to help keep it upgraded. And then of course, under Gina's great guidance, you know, I just see the love that is there, and that's true testament. And the people who come there, they love being there, and everyone is so pleasant. Everyone is so nice. and welcoming. And truly, you've created the cultural connections that Phil Ward, you know, it's good to, you know, they're reading the narrative and it sounds great, but, you know, letting Nick know it really does exist. Those connections are real, true. And I'm so grateful we have a legacy to build upon. And you will know 10 years from now that you were the one who created that. So I hope that gives you heart as you take the next step in your life. Thanks.
Thank you again so much to our Parks and Recreation team. And then also thank you to the public. Again, they did vote in for Measure S, and this is truly your tax dollars at work. I love saying that phrase, but it's really true. And before we go into a brief recess, I did want to open it up to the Parks and Recreation team just to see if anybody would like to say any few words. Not to put you all on the spot, but I do just want to make sure I give you the opportunity.
I hate public speaking.
Same.
But this is the one time that I think it's worth it for me to be shy and embarrassed. Jessica has not only been a great boss, but she's been a great mentor. And at the end of these 5 years, I can say I can call her a good friend. She's helped me with my confidence because I came in as a coordinator. I came in with some experience, but not a lot. And she's always pushed me to believe in myself when there was a project that maybe I was not comfortable with. And like, I don't think I can do this. She was like, I know you can. I've seen you do better. I've seen you do more. So she's always pushed me to do more. And I am a professional in recreation because of her. And I think she's instilled that in our staff. As you can see, we have our junior coordinators here that started from the very beginning, and we've instilled what she's instilled in us. So what you were saying, is there going to be anything left behind? A part of Jessica, of course, it's going to be there for the continuation of this department. So thank you for that. And I hope nothing but the best for you in your journey. But I know I'm going to see her again because we have future plans for Washington. So
There you go.
but, yeah.
Martín.
Oh, my.
Go ahead.
Okay, like Bree, I didn't write nothing, so we'll see. But we do want to say we're gonna miss Jessica, and she has built a great foundation here. She's joked, she's called herself my mom, but I mean, she's just really taken me under her wing, and I think everybody that's been here this long, they can really see her as a positive figure, as someone to look up to, as someone to like look for in times of need. She's helped me out so many times. I've been with her for 5 years. I've been one of the lucky ones, me and Gina, to be able to move up in this department. So it's just been a blessing to have her support us through it and have her see something in us to where she knows that we can step up for her as well. And like you guys have seen, provide the services we have and the kind of community engagement we've gotten. So we'll be sad to see her go, but hopefully we can keep doing it like in her legacy, as you guys have said. Thank you, Jessica.
So I came into the Parks and Rec department 2 years ago. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I've made. I've had a lot of experience with youth programs and recreational programs, even though I didn't really study that field. But starting on my first day, like just seeing the environment and the culture that I saw at the community center was something that I saw myself being able to be a part of. Again, when I was nervous, Jessica has this presence to her where you're like, I don't know how she's going to be like, right? But you get to know her and you get to see the passion and her dedication. And honestly, it's one of the most impressive things I've seen. And I've had a lot of different bosses, and she's probably on the top. So I'm not going to name names, okay? But just I started here, and it was a very difficult transition based on I've only had youth experience, and I had to do senior programs and more events and a lot more that I didn't think I would have to do, but they were patient with me, especially Jessica, teaching me all the budgeting, all the numbers, how to work with staff that, so it was very, very great to work under her. And I know that wherever you'll go, you'll be the best and you'll be the best. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all so much. Do you want to leave with parting words or?
Uh,
Oh,
I parted.
okay, perfect. All right, so at this time, we will be taking a 15-minute recess. Thank you to our residents for being patient with us. We do want to be able to celebrate Jessica and the Parks and Rec team. Thank you. All right, thank you all so much again for bearing with us and for allowing us to celebrate with our Parks and Recreation Department. We will now move on to our second presentation, which is a presentation by Salinas Valley Recycles on changes to single-use plastic bag laws in California, and I assume that this will be done virtually.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me? All right.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, you could put up my slides and actually not sure. Will I be able to see them? Well, good evening. I'm Jana Falk, the recycling coordinator for Salinas Valley Recycles, and I'm here today upon request by staff to explain the changes to California bag regulations. Can you all see my slides?
No.
No.
Okay, I'll wait. Am I presenting my slides or are they run in-house?
No, you would like a
Oh,
Zoom. Just like
okay. Sorry. We do things a little differently. Okay. Let me see. Sorry, wasn't prepared for that.
All right, thank you for
Right.
sharing. We see
Can you
them.
see our slides, my slides now?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Perfect.
Let's see. No, I'm not going to be able to see my notes. So bear with me and I'll try to try to remember what my notes say. So overview of the California bag laws. In this year in 2026, the laws have been updated so that plastic bags are now to be paper or compostable bags. So the prior laws allowed for a thicker plastic bag, and this is phasing out the plastic use in takeout bags. The paper carryout bags came into effect in January 2026, and this covers almost all grocery stores, food delivery type locations, not necessarily restaurants, but retail. And then also the bags are required to be charged at 10 cents each. A caveat to this is it's only for, or not charged for any EBT or the sustainable or subsidy programs. Sorry. And it applies to checkout or self-checkout, in-store pickup, and home delivery. The bags must be accepted curbside, which they are in our blue carts, labeled with manufacturer, county of origin, and post-consumer content. And so by 2028, they're required to be at least 50% post-consumer recycled material. And then the pre-checkout bags are those bags that you put your loose produce in or bulk goods. And back in 2025, the laws changed that those needed to be certified compostable bags and not plastic bags. And so those have to be at least 15 inches wide, so not really tiny bags, and they have to meet state compatibility standards. And customers are encouraged, but never required to, encouraged to bring reusable bags or containers. They're never required to purchase a bag. And then the one point of note is those compostable bags, they're not designed for our compost system that all of the residents put their food waste and yard trimmings into the green cart on the curb. Our aerated static piles reach a minimum of 131 degrees for a minimum of 72 hours, but that doesn't mean it breaks down plastics or those bioplastics. So the finished compost would end up with contaminations in them from those compostable bags. So just note even though they're in the grocery store labeled compostable, our systems were not accepting them for commercial compost, so they do go in the trash. A few notes about enforcement is that the customers are not required to buy bags. Certain bags are exempt, so pharmacy bags, point of sale prescription, and garment bags at dry cleaners. The cities can enforce and are encouraged to by the state, but enforcement is discretionary and there's no reporting requirements for the cities or counties like there is with 1383. So the state's not going to be checking to see if the city is enforcing this. And also there's no penalties for that. So for small businesses, which I know it's a bigger impact, plastic bags are no longer allowed at checkout for produce and bulk items. If the businesses do have materials still from past purchases, they're allowed to utilize those until that runs out. Pre-checkout bags must be recycled paper or compostable. Checkout bags must be recycled paper and be charged the consumer. The business is required to charge that, but that money stays with the business. It does not get remitted to the state. And customers can always bring their own reusable bags or containers or take their materials out without a bag. So some takeaways on this. The goal of these regulations to reduce plastic waste and contamination, improve recycling system performance, because these bags get tangled up in the blue, once they're put in the blue cart, get tangled up in the recycling system. So we want to reduce the amount of plastic bags in our environment, even though we don't accept those plastic bags in our recycling containers, they end up there often. And so this also shifts behavior toward reuse and waste prevention instead of promoting disposables. So the laws were changed to with what the stores may provide, not what the customer must do. Encourages reuse. And again, it's the local governments, not CalRecycle, who will be enforcing this, but there's no state oversight to ensure that there's any enforcement happening. So it's really, the goal is to help promote education and this change from plastic and less about enforcement and the way we look at it. So with that, I'm available for questions. And I know that went pretty fast.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I will open it up to the council if they have any questions.
Yep. Actually, I had one, but you answered it. If we had any bags that we had already bought, what was going to happen, but you answered it. But thank you so much.
I do have one. Is that I heard you saying that there is no actual check-in to see if that is happening. So
Right.
Are we relying in the businesses to implement these changes and trusting them to do it rather than enforcing something so they can be obligated to do it, right?
Right. Even if you go on the CalRecycle's website, it says cities should contact their lawyer in how to enforce this. So the Attorney General does have the California Attorney General has a comment box. Somebody could go in and say this store is not providing, but there is nothing in the laws that say if Soledad does not enforce and make penalties upon businesses that Soledad would get a fine. Unlike other regulations, this is intended to be regulated by the cities, but there's no penalty for that.
Okay, so you said it, right? That it's more educational than actual.
That's our goal, yeah.
So if any business decides to continue using the bags, they're not going to be charged anything. They're not going to be penalized or anything, right?
If any business continues to use plastic bags, was that question?
If any business continues to use plastic bags, that is not, there's no penalty for that, right?
Correct. I mean, unless the city of Soledad chooses to enforce.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Bañuelos, any question?
Yeah, Jana, thank you so much for the presentation. As this is my second time watching this presentation, I appreciate that because I sit in the Salinas Valley Recycles Board of Directors. But just to clarify what Councilmember Cabrera mentioned, and also what it says on your slide, can you go back to that slide where it says compostable bags?
The pre-checkout bags?
Yes. Where the bio bag one.
Yeah, just a second.
And as she's doing that, Jana, if you can again reiterate the question that Councilmember Cabrera said, if I understand that some of our small businesses are still doing it because they purchase bulk bags. So of course they're going to continue using those. But again, it's the discretion of the city of Soledad, right? But I mean, I understand that, and I am aware that some of these small businesses are aware of this change. It's just a matter of them continuing to exhaust those purchase bags already then.
Correct.
And thank you for the slide. So the bio bag there, I do collect compost. So you mentioned no bag is thrown for the trash, correct? Okay. So I guess
Yes, all these bags go in the trash, correct?
okay. And so again, I want to reiterate to the public, it's education. So this is the importance of recycling and reusing and how to manage, and the bulk foods. So thank you. No other questions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much again.
All right.
Right. So we will now move on to our consent calendar agenda. I would like to ask first, if anyone in the public would like to pull any items from our consent calendar, and with the reminder that we have removed consent item number 4. Do we have anyone on Zoom? All right, and I don't see any here in the chamber. I'll now ask the council if there are any items from the consent calendar that you would like to pull for a separate vote.
Point of clarification,
Sure.
are we removing item 4 and 3?
No, I believe just item number 4, is that correct?
Yes, just
Was removed.
Okay,
Four.
because number 3 is also in kind services and approving the street closer to Soledad, the street between Front Street and Monterey.
Yes, that's for the Historical Society Farmers
okay.
Market, and
Okay,
the one
yeah,
we
yeah.
removed is for Our Lady of Solitude
Mhm.
Parish.
Got it. Thanks.
All right. So I will now entertain a motion from the council to approve consent items 1 through 6, with the exception of 4 that has already been removed.
So moved.
Second.
All right. I have a motion on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? All right. Motion passes. Thank you so much. We will now move on to our business items, and we will start now with business item number 1, introduction, waiver of reading and first reading by title only of ordinance number 777, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Soledad, amending chapter 17. Sorry, I'm laughing because 1738 is a song. Lyric 17.38.260, secondary residential units of Title 17 zoning of the Soledad Municipal Code to incorporate new regulations pertaining to state law and implementation of the Soledad 6-cycle housing element, and I will turn it over to our senior planner.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Council. I'll do a quick presentation for the introduction of ordinance number 777. It's not a new ordinance to the council, as we've been going back and forth with this proposed amendments that we have to comply with for our housing elements that have been started since last year towards the end of 2025. Just as a refresher, those amendments were started and we did receive a public comment letter from Cal HDF that suggested some amendments to our proposed ordinance in order to comply with state law. And during the time between December and now, we've been working with our city attorney and our consultants to make sure the language is adequate based on their recommendations and conformance with state law. As I mentioned, the ordinance itself is not new to the council. The ordinance proposes location changes to where certain types of ADUs are permitted. It also changes a few of the development standards and more so defines it a little bit better for different types of ADUs. The proposed ordinance complies with our current housing element. As I mentioned, it's actually a requirement for us to continue updating this section of our municipal code in order to be compliant with state law. It has, after approval, once we formally adopt it, we do have to submit it to the state for formal compliance for the ADU law. Last time we brought this item back in December, a few questions from the council came regarding parking and fire sprinkler questions, where if the main unit is already fire sprinklered, the ADU also has to be fire sprinklered. If it's not, then there's no requirement there. And parking, it just depends on the case by case basis, depending on the ADU type. However, the main focus of the proposed ordinance and why we're bringing it tonight is because of responding to the Cal HDF letter that we received. There was really 3 points to focus on within the Cal HDF letter. The first point related to AB 1156, where JDUs are no longer required to have owner occupancy if a JDU has a separate restroom. Therefore, we made those amendments to comply with AB 1156, as noted in the staff report and on attachment 3 to the staff report. We also provided a new section in the ordinance related to statewide exempt ADUs, which are ADUs that don't conform to traditional ADU development standards and can be exempt from certain standards so that they could be approved. Again, this is more of a streamlined action coming from the state in order to help implement more ADUs within the state of California for the housing benefit. And then additionally, we made more further clarification for parking requirements, specifically for statewide exempt ADUs based on government code section 66323 and other ADU types as well. Right now, staff recommends to continue the item for adoption for April 1st as presented, or if there's any edits that need to be made regarding on any typos or any on the formatting, then we can take those notes as well to present them for the next meeting for adoption. And as I mentioned, once this is completed, we do have to submit to the state within 60 days of adoption so that they also get to review and make sure we're in compliance with state law. At this time, I conclude my presentation if council has any questions.
Thank you so much, Ariana. Before I bring it to council, I did want to take it up to the public. If we have any folks joining us from our chamber that would like to make a public comment on business item number 1. Seeing none, anyone on Zoom? All right, and then we did not receive any written comment, correct? Awesome. All right, so I will now bring it back to the council for any comments or questions, and I'll start with Councilwoman McNellis.
No questions, but thank you for the refresher, Adriana, and thank you for the tremendous work that you do and your patience with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Cabrera.
No questions, thanks.
Councilmember Caldera.
Thank you, Ariana. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
All right, I do have a quick question in reference to JADUs. So if someone has a JADU, nobody needs to be like living in there if it has a restroom attached to it.
Correct. So a JADU is an accessory dwelling unit that has to be built within the existing structure of the primary dwelling. So if you have a secondary living room, you can transform that into a separate living unit. Before there was a requirement that you can share sanitation facilities to the main dwelling. Therefore, you have to leave a door opening to go from the JADU to the main dwelling. Now that's no longer a requirement. If it has a separate restroom, then it doesn't have to have that entrance anymore. And now it has to still meet the 500 square foot maximum, but now no owner occupancy is required if it has its own sanitation facility.
So it would be within the existing structure of the home. So it wouldn't be like a JADU isn't one that is like, say you built an attachment onto your home. Is that do that, or is that different?
It's a little different, but then again, the same, just because there's loopholes to that, right? If you want to add to your house, then you're adding it as an addition, which a lot of the development standards apply, whether there's lot coverage, setbacks, height requirements, even finishing requirements for the exterior, egress and ingress requirements. But when it's when it's an ADU, a lot of those are waived due to ADU law. Right. So if someone's proposing to do that, then addition would be approved first because you have to have an ADU within the existing space of the house. And then JDU can come after the fact. So it just depends on how you want to build it to the existing house. You have to do the attachment or addition first in order to have a JDU in shorter terms. Yeah.
So then the occupancy.
Mhm.
So like if you have an ADU, for example, and nobody lives in it,
Mhm.
you get like fined, or I'm a little lost there.
No, so per state law, ADU does have to be rented for more than 30 days. We don't have anything locally regarding that fine or enforcement on that. I know we do have to just follow ADU law and address it when they're applying that this has to be rented more than 30 days because it's not meant for short-term rental. But for JADUs, right now, what we are having when owner occupancy was required were affidavits saying that the property owner will be living in one of those units, whether it's the JADU, the main dwelling, or now the detached ADU that is now, you can have up to 3 now. That is no longer a requirement. So we would be eliminating the affidavit if there's no shared facility for restrooms.
And then final clarifying question. I know that there's now state law requiring a stove, I believe, and a refrigerator. Is that also something that's required through JDUs and EDUs, or is it only in like apartments, homes and stuff like that?
That does sound familiar. I briefly discussed that with our building official, that new law did come in regarding that. When reviewing the ADU law, I didn't talk specifically about that. So I'm not sure. I think it's more for rental properties, which, ADUs could fall under that. But I know for the building code, there's also specific requirements when you have to have everything at least connection ready. But in terms of the actual appliances, I'm not sure.
All right, well, thank you so much. Council, I will now entertain a motion to introduce, waive of reading, and first reading by title only of ordinance number 777. Do I have to read the whole thing?
You don't, because you already read it when you introduced it.
Perfect.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilman Bañuelos, a second by Councilmember Cabrera. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries.
And just for clarification, that was the motion to approve the introduction.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We will now move on to our second business item, which is a resolution number 6343, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Soledad approving the submittal for, sorry, I think there's a typo, for U.S. Economic Development Administration EDA through the Disaster 25 EDA Notice of Funding Opportunity NOFO for the Downtown Container Village Project and direction on local match commitment, and I will turn it over to Tencia.
Good evening, Pro Tem and members of the council. I'm here this evening to present staff's intent to apply for an Economic Development Administration or EDA grant under the Disaster Grant Program that will help support the design and pre-development stage phase of the Downtown Container Village Project. Staff continues to advance work on the Container Village project, and we believe that this grant offers the opportunity that could play a key role in helping move the project forward. As you may know, in 2024, the city was awarded a $50,000 grant through the USDA Rural Development Grant, which was used to complete a feasibility study and economic impact analysis for the project. The study confirmed that the project's market viability and provided recommendations for a phased implementation approach. On April 16, 2025, City Council provided direction to staff to pursue that phase implementation strategy. This approach separates pre-development activities from future construction phases, allowing the city to advance the project incrementally while improving its competitiveness for external funding opportunities. It also allows the city to pursue funding specifically for design and pre-construction work before moving into construction phase. As I mentioned, the city has this opportunity through the EDA Disaster Grant Program, which could provide between $250,000 to $550,000 in grant funding to support this pre-development and activities such as engineering analysis, site planning, design development, and preparations of construction documents. From a financial standpoint, the grant does require a 20% non-federal match. If the city were to pursue this and receive funds, that would require a contribution of about $100,000. Because federal sources such as CDBG funds are not eligible to meet this requirement, the match must come from non-federal sources. If the city be awarded this grant, staff intends to maximize allowable in-kind contributions through documenting staff time associated with advancing the project forward. This may include portion of the time of the Community and Economic Development Director, Senior Planner, and Development Technicians whose work will directly support project coordination, planning activities, consultant management, and grant administration. Any remaining balance needed to meet that match will require have it be programmed into fiscal year 2026-27 general fund budget and will be brought back to the city council as part of the annual budget adoption process. At this moment, what staff is asking is we are asking for the approval of Resolution 6343 and authorizing the submission of the EDA grant application. We are also asking and requesting direction regarding the required 20% non-federal match, including authorization to utilize eligible in-kind contributions such as staff time related to the project. And lastly, we are also asking and requesting that the city manager be allowed to submit a letter of commitment as part of the EDA application, which would make our grant competitive at that point. At this time, this concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you so much, Tencia. I will now open it up to our public comment on business item number 2. If we have anyone from our chamber that would like to make a public comment. Seeing none, do we have anyone on Zoom? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for questions and comments, and I'll start with Councilmember Caldera.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Actually, I'm kind of excited for it. And I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, I think I found it, but because this grant is only for planning, no developmental or pre-planning.
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 Pre-development. No construction.
No construction.
No.
Will that give us an opportunity, a better opportunity to find resources or funding for the construction part?
So the way that
Like a second step.
Yes, the answer to your question is yes. So the way that it was explained to us directly from EDA is that the best approach for this project is 2 phases.
Okay.
Phase 1 would be the pre-development, pre-construction. It would give us that opportunity to separate it. And then the second, once we receive that and we complete, let's say we get awarded, we complete that portion, then we can move into and apply for actual construction cost. That phase.
Yes. And the second is let's say that we get it. Let's say that we get the $500,000. Are we getting those $100,000 for the 20% match from the general budget, or do we have anything else that we can take it from?
Unfortunately, we can't use, I know that right now we are applying also for the CDBG grant. That portion, because it's also considered federal funding at the end of the day, we cannot use those proceeds towards this project.
Are we gonna look for partnerships like with businesses or individual
I'll defer to.
Yeah,
investments?
yeah, through the chair, I think the goal is to maximize as much in kind by leveraging the staff salaries that come from the general fund. So as it's stated in here, you know, there will be staff time devoted to doing this work. So, you know, we'll even some of my time, because I do spend time on this project, we would be maximizing those costs so that our actual cash match will be much smaller.
Okay,
And then if we, you know, we'll have to look at what are eligible expenses, but the goal is to, you know, reduce as much as possible. And then we would probably look at reserves.
okay, so it is that match includes the in-kind, the work that you guys have put in, so that we can reduce the amount of actual cash
Yeah,
that we need. Okay.
exactly. And then we can also look at state funding opportunities or private funding opportunities. The key word is we can't use federal funds as a match, but there are other funding that we might be able to also put to get to the 100,000. I know that our marching orders would be to minimize as much as possible, because we really can't afford 100,000. And in the end, if we can't come up with a sizable match that doesn't tap too much into our general fund, then we might just have to shelve it, because we can't really afford much more than maybe 20,000-25,000. So
Okay.
that's kind of the range that we're looking at, where we might have to pull from reserve.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
One thing to keep in mind is that these grants may have a time lapse of 3 years. So that 20%.
Okay. That's pretty good, yeah.
That's normal with any grants. So you have whatever the life of the grant, you have that period.
And we're gonna be able to distribute the in-kind services.
You might be
through
able to
the-
distribute it
through the
evenly.
years.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Banuelos?
Yes, Tancia, thank you for just advocating for this, and as it is part of our strategic plan. So this is great. You know, just continue to build the resilience to a diverse local economy and all this. Just a quick question. You had mentioned the 3-year span, but I understand that. No, you know what? I don't have any questions because again, as I always share, and I was going to state it again, you know, things do happen here in Soledad when you do shop local. So please, you know, continue to, you know, the taxes stay here. And this is why we bring this, so that way we can have, you know, the project coming. And I want to say again, ahead of time, thank you for that staff that's going to be working on this project. So thank you, Megan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Banuelos. I think for me, I think that in kind, hopefully it does add up. I think this would be something that is a benefit to us. I know we've been trying to move that container village project for some time, and this would allow us to kind of get that pre-planning phase started so that we can kind of show that we're kind of moving along and stuff like that too. For that funding that we may have extra that we will need to kind of account for, I'm wondering if we could also advocate for the County of Monterey to provide some of this funding. I know they provide funding to the City of King for some of their projects, so I'm wondering if we could maybe talk to our county supervisor to kind of leverage some of those funds and set those aside for the City of Soledad, just so that they can also invest here in our South County. We're trying to grow, and I think it would be something beneficial to bring up to them. I think I am in favor of this, and I think hopefully that direction came through with the council as well to maximize on the in-kind services, understand that we would bear the brunt of that $100,000 if we are awarded, and if we are awarded that maximum, and also to direct our city manager to provide that letter of commitment. So with that being said, I already brought it to the public. Yeah, so I will, council, I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 6343 with the direction provided to staff.
So move.
Second.
All right, I have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Cabrera and a second by Councilwoman Banuelos. Trying to say Cabrera and Caldera in my mind is really hard because you guys are sitting next to each other. All right, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much, Thencia.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to our third item of business, which is resolution number 6344. Consider adoption of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Soledad acknowledging and accepting proposed amendments to Soledad Police Department Policy Manual Policy number 470, automated license plate readers, ALPRs, and I will turn it over to Lieutenant Ariola.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council, City Manager, and members of the public. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Lieutenant Ariola, and I'm here tonight with Chief Patrick Valenzuela and two of our flock representatives who have joined us via Zoom tonight. We are here tonight to briefly speak in regards to our proposed updated ALPR policy 470. In 2024, the City of Soledad approved the implementation and operation of automated license plate reader technology to enhance public safety and strengthen investigative capabilities. The limited network of ALPR cameras located within the City of Soledad has assisted the police department by capturing license plate images in public view and comparing them against databases associated with stolen vehicles, wanted persons, missing persons, and other public safety alerts. Since installation, the department's ALPR system has played a key role in several significant investigations in which I've shared with you all. In January of 2026, the City Council raised concerns regarding the use of ALPR technology following reports of incidents elsewhere in California in which ALPR data was used in violation of state and local laws and policies. For example, it was recently disclosed that unauthorized law agencies were inadvertently allowed access to information from the City of Santa Cruz license plate reader system. Flock Safety, the private vendor that provides cameras and software used by many law enforcement agencies, including the City of Soledad, also disclosed that a flaw in its systems had allowed agencies outside of California to conduct searches of license plate data. Due to concerns regarding the potential misuse of ALPR data, including privacy violations, the possible targeting of vulnerable populations, and unlawful data sharing with outside agencies, including the U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, the City Council directed we review the city's policy governing ALPR use to determine whether additional safeguards or regulatory controls should be considered and adopted. The Soledad Police Department currently operates its ALPR system pursuant to Lexipol Policy 470. The department utilizes the services of Lexipol LLC for development and maintenance of departmental policy manuals, training bulletins, and consulting support. These services are provided through an annual subscription to help ensure that the department policies remain current, legally compliant, and consistent with statewide best practices. Policy 470 was drafted to comply with the provisions of Senate Bill 34, a California law enacted in 2015 that regulates the use, privacy, and sharing of data collected by ALPR systems. SB 34 amended the California Civil Code to limit law enforcement use of ALPR system, require agencies to maintain written policies regarding ALPR use, and impose restrictions on the sharing of ALPR information. The department is unaware of any violations of Policy 470 or state law related to the city's current use of its ALPR system. We reviewed the ALPR policies and regulatory controls used by a number of other California cities. In conducting this review, we remain mindful of the council's desire to have a local policy that reflects the demographics and community values of Soledad. The review revealed that many California cities have adopted the same or similar Lexipol ALPR policy currently used by Soledad. However, based on the demographic similarities and regional alignment, we identified that the city of Salinas as the most relevant peer agency for comparison. Both cities have a significant Hispanic Latino population, such as Soledad is at 79%, with Salinas being at 78%, and share the regional concerns regarding federal data sharing. The most notable modification in the Salinas ALPR policy was the addition of a clear and direct statement that the department does not permit the sharing of ALPR information with other entities for the purpose of prohibited by law, including but not limited to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Although these prohibitions are already addressed elsewhere in the lexible policy template, the added language provides a greater clarity that removes any uncertainty regarding the policy's intent. Another addition to the Salinas policy requires that the chief of police or designee to consider the applicable provisions of law before authorizing the release of ALPR data, and reiterates that such data may not be shared for the purpose of federal immigration enforcement. Based on our research, the essential components required for a comprehensive ALPR policy under the California Civil Code are already incorporated into existing lexible policy 470. However, the additional language modeled after the city of Salinas policy provides another layer of protection against the unauthorized or unwarranted release of ALPR data for immigrant-related purposes. The department recommends that the City Council review and accept the proposed amendments to the Soledad Police Department Policy 470 based on the modifications made to the City of Salinas policy in order to ensure appropriate oversight, transparency, and continued compliance with California law. We have prepared a resolution for council consideration this evening and acknowledge and accept the proposed amendments. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I will now take it out to the public for any comment on resolution number 6344, business item number 3. Anyone here in our chamber? Seeing none. Anyone on Zoom? No. Did we get any written comment, Darlene? Nope. All right. So I'll bring it back to the council for comments and questions. And I already lost track of who I asked first. So I'm going to actually go with Councilmember Cabrera.
Caldera?
Cabrera.
Oh, Cabrera.
Because they
Okay.
always get to start.
Okay.
Throwing everything.
So, I think that we talked about this a couple of months ago with the concern that some citizens had about privacy. And since then, we had an incident with a young boy. I don't recall if he died or not, but I think that we have to, that is part of the privacy and safety of our community, to be able to locate any individual that does anything wrong. I think that we needed this last year. I don't know what kind of we could have by now, but I think it is due already. Thank you for all the work that you guys have done and researching that information. It's a great addition. And I'm in full support of this cameras. Thank you for the work.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, my turn. I just want to say thank you for your presentation, Lieutenant Arreola and Chief. I do have a question for you or a concern. So I know it's kind of, I've probably asked the question a couple of times already, but anyways, just thought I ask once more. To the privacy or the intent that we want to put this in place, is there a policy that all the agencies have adopted, the agencies that we're going to be sharing the information with, the same policy that we have?
I can't say if it's the same policy verbatim, but what I can say is about 90% of law enforcement agencies, I believe in California, have used lexible policy, which would be very similar
to ours,
if not pretty much the same, with the
Yeah.
modifications that we've.
Yeah, my concern was that if there was some kind of backdoor leaks of the information, and that was my concern. But
Yes, sir.
yes, sure.
So one of the things that most agencies were missing was that checkbox that they had full responsibility for. And so you can't really blame Flock for the misuse of the product, because they were taught that prior to when they went through the Flock Academy. They're told they're given training to do it. So if they missed to put that box, check box in there, it goes back, the onus has to go back on the particular agency. And so what you'll find in the last couple ones that have come out here in California, that's the case, is that they just didn't go and check the box so that they're not sharing. Now, what happens is, let's say we'll use LA, okay? LA wants to look at they have to check with us first. We just don't give
Okay,
it to them.
yes.
They have to call us and ask for permission.
Mhm.
So with the strict policy that we put in place, no one can do it. And the audits are in place so that everybody knows what is going on with our system, right? Flock has been in our police department now for the last couple of years, right? And so what I'll tell you is that they've used it appropriately, and even up to the point that I've been here, it's been used appropriately. Because the bigger part is that we're solving crime in a matter of minutes. And that's the big thing.
Yes.
They talked about the young boy, right? Even though we maybe not got him that day, the use of the flock is what now gave us what we have today, right? And so as we build onto that, it's only going to get better. And so I would just say that the onus has to go back on some of the agencies that didn't check that box. So, thank you.
Yeah, you asked no, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Through the chair, I just wanted to clarify something for council. So, and Lieutenant Ariola can correct me if I'm wrong, or Mike, but we used the Lexipol policy for this, and then we added or tailored with the blue language based on the feedback from council and looking at a similar jurisdiction being that of Salinas to provide the additional protection. So if you go to the exhibit A, I believe the blue text is basically what we've added to create some additional protection, but the basis is the Lexipol policy.
Correct.
And
Thank you.
I'll just add that before we would share any information, the chief would be checking to make sure that the receiving or the recipient agency has the proper
The same policy.
protocols in place to make sure the information is not deceptive.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Caldera. Councilwoman Bañuelos?
Lieutenant Adiola, Chief Valenzuela, thank you so much. And then also, just reading the additional modification to that, we do need to put that, of course. Just to kind of also reiterate, the flocks is license plate, right? But in some cases, things like occur, that is also an additional help to help resolve any.
That's exactly.
Crimes.
It's another tool in our belt.
Yes. And then again, for the public, can you just reiterate, where are the locations again for those flock systems? Flock cameras?
I don't have that information with
Okay.
me, but not with me now, but I do have that.
Okay.
But it is a 22 additional cameras that will be placed.
Okay.
Wow.
22 additional, awesome.
Yeah, I would.
And I know I do see,
Through the chair, just to clarify, that would come back to council today. Today, we're only considering the policy as kind of the first step.
and I do know that it is part of our strategic plan to modernize our technology. So, we're on the right lane. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Bañuelos. So I was gonna make that comment as well, that I wanted to reiterate that before us right now is just the policy change. I do want to say before my comments that I am in favor of the policy change, and I think that it covers a lot of really good things. But I also want to say that I was under the impression that the direction to staff was a broader city policy regarding surveillance, and not necessarily just to like the license plate reading portion, but also just surveillance in general, beyond sort of what we have before us now and any sort of software that may come in the future. I know that, we did a really good job with this, but I feel like we're missing some of the other items that were asked for in our prior meeting. I know that other cities have ordinances regarding surveillance. Like the city of Oakland, for example, they adopted a comprehensive surveillance ordinance that requires that any new technology, whether license plate readers, drone or data systems, go through a public review process and receive council approval, of course, with oversight from an advisory commission. They have surveillance impact reports that they do and use policies, annual reporting and stuff like that. And that's what I thought we were going to have. Also, is that going to come back
No.
before?
No, that's beyond the scope of what staff understood we were supposed to do. The Oakland policy that you're referencing, they have a vast array of different surveillance equipment that goes far beyond what we have here in the city. We just have the flock cameras. But in the larger cities like San Diego and Oakland and so forth, they have, you know, a variety. They have the I forget what they're called, but when you can hear the gunshots that go, you can locate
Shot
it.
spotter.
Like in Salinas.
And they have cameras that go beyond just the license plate readers and so forth and so on. And so they've developed a much more comprehensive system of sort of reporting on surveillance and additions to those sorts of surveillance tools. But at this point, the only thing that we have is, you know, the cameras. We could look at something like that, but we'd be constantly changing it because we'd sort of be speculating about what it would be that we would be adopting or bringing into the city.
So we couldn't, as a city, be proactive and come up with some sort of policies?
You could, but what would be the point is, I mean, I think that if there was a suggestion that we were going to bring new equipment in, that would be attached to, and then tell us about this. What security measures are we going to take? But to sort of develop a whole line of sort of security equipment, policies and so forth with regard to surveillance prior to the time that we adopt any of the equipment seems like sort of a futile effort. That's just my opinion. I mean, if the council wants us to look into that issue and see if there's something that we can adopt, like you said, to be more proactive. But at this point, I'm unaware of anything that we're proposing to adopt or acquire other than the flock cameras.
Well, Councilwoman Bañuelos is making it very clear that she is against that, so I thank you for that.
Point of clarification, please. We're not comparing Las Vegas, San Diego, San Francisco to our rural community, you know, as if you can just reiterate again, the comparison with the flock system and to compare with San Francisco, what they use is a bigger scope.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why we didn't attach, for instance, the city of Oakland at first when we looked at the staff report, we said, let's attach the city of Oakland provisions and so forth. But I mean, they're 40 pages long and they have advisory boards and reviews and all this sort of stuff. But they also have a ton more of surveillance equipment than we're utilizing right now. And so it seemed like sort of overkill for what we've got or what we're planning to at least have you guys consider at this point. But it's certainly, if we wanted to be proactive and we could look at some sort of cherry pick some policies and bring them back for you folks to take a look at.
And one thing that I like to piggyback on that too is, so you're looking at big agencies that have real-time crime centers. We're not even close to that. And if you're not familiar with a real-time crime center, you have dedicated detectives watching surveillance all day long, and that's all they do, right? It's at one center, everybody gets to see it. Like Mr. Rodriguez said, there's many tools within that real-time crime center that they're having to put together to develop however crime occurs, right? With flock, and I hate using flock, but it's LPRs, right? LPRs, all they are license plate readers. They collect data. So I know there was been question about, you know, the surveillance, right? But the one thing that we have to look at is the technology gives us to find people, but based off of clothing, based off riding a bike, based off shoe color, based off a hat, all this stuff comes into play, but we are not far enough into facial recognition with LPR.
Yeah.
And I'm sure somewhere down the line it's going to get there, but that's not what it's all about. It's about trying to find things like right now. I could share a lot with you because I came from a bigger agency where we did that, but I'll tell you that at the level that we're working at is we don't have the police officers to solve crime quickly. The LPRs give us that advantage. So,
Well, thank you for giving that context and clarification. I think for me, representing a city, listening to a lot of different opinions, I myself my cousin, I talk about her all the time, we're very close, now she got promoted to detective for Monterey County Sheriff Department. So we've talked and had these conversations before, and I feel like this sort of technology helps out a lot, especially I think that maybe the phrase that she uses isn't like the most PC, but she's like, if somebody's threatening to jump off Bixby Bridge, like I can look up and see, oh, they're actually in Santa Barbara. And so that's kind of how she phrases it for me. I think just having these conversations so that the public is aware is very important, because there's been a lot of conversations in a lot of the cities that are near us in our Tri-County area that have been having these issues. So I think having more of these open and transparent conversations are needed. So I really do appreciate you all doing that. So if there are no other comments or questions.
Just a clarification one. So what you're talking about is a very, very sophisticated equipment, right? So that would imply that we will have to spend like $10 million to implement technology that we're not gonna be able to use anyway. So I think that we have to express that so that our residents understand that it's not that we don't want to do it, is that first, we don't have the means to do something like that. And secondly, it will be unnecessary for us to create an ordinance for something that we're not really holding up. So I think that we have the opportunity to give you guys tools that can manage what we have. I was just thinking that there's a lot more sophistication, and when we compare, like for instance, for Oakland is like I don't want to say anything bad about Oakland. I like Oakland and the residents, but they do have a problem there that it requires a lot more technology. Because even during the day, you go into play, there are places that you cannot even go if you don't know anybody there. So I think that we are doing what we can for the city and based on the budget that we have. So thanks. You just wanted to clarify for the residents. Thanks.
And trust me when I say this, right? And you guys, when you guys said that we need to look at policy, right? That's gonna make the stronger point, right? If we don't have strong policies, then people run amok, right? And we don't want that. We're such a small agency that we have control of what we're doing with our flock. And so with the audits that we would do more periodically, right? Because now they know how to use it correctly. We can now watch this stuff. And we know why our officers are going into it. And the only people that can share it, it's got to go through us. We're the only ones that are going to check that box saying, yeah, LA will share it with you, right? But you have to have a reason for us to share it. You can't just say, hey, because you're just looking for whatever, right? Specifically, if you have a crime, we need a DR number, we need a report number. We know specifically what you're looking for, and that's it, right? We just don't give it to them for free. They have to have a reason for it.
All right. Thank you so much. I really love that you mentioned that too, because as a council, that's what we're here for, is to make and implement policies, and it's a great reminder for everyone as well. I don't know if Mike, you wanted to jump in.
The only thing I just want to say is, I'm willing to bet that, I didn't look at it specifically, but I'm sure that the Lexipol policy that we have has some language that addresses other forms and use of surveillance and so forth. So it's one of those things where we have a policy that's probably in place when we adopt the entire Lexipol manual. So it's not as if we don't have anything at all. If something was to come in and we were to consider something else like facial recognition technology or something along those lines, but I'll check that and I will report back to you to let you know that those policies are already embedded into the Lexipol policy.
Right, and I can tell you that we're not even close to that yet.
Yeah.
There's no technology that can do that. Right. At a police level,
All right. Thank you so much. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 6344.
I'll make a motion.
All right, I have a motion from Councilmember Caldera.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Cabrera. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, we will now move on to our fourth item of business, which is resolution number 6339, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Soledad approving a contract for construction services with Viking Painting LLC in the amount of $355,800 plus a 5% contingent, oh, it's a small contingency, of 17,790 for a total not to exceed the amount of 373,590 for the Soledad potable storage tank cleaning project and authorizing the city manager to execute said contract on behalf of the City of Soledad. And I do want to make a note again that we did receive just earlier in the meeting this bid bond package. And I will turn it over to Alex.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for accepting it, at the last minute there. But good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I'm Alex Ramos, engineering project manager with the City of Soledad. And I'm happy to be here tonight to present this item. And once again, sorry for the mouthful of a long title there. But as you guys may already know, the City of Soledad owns and operates its own water distribution system. We deliver safe, clean, and reliable drinking water to all Soledad residents. We're one of the few cities that does that full service, right, compared to some of our neighboring cities here. The distribution system consists of 5 groundwater wells, approximately 46 miles of potable water pipelines, 1 booster station, and 4 1 million gallon storage tanks, which will be the focus of tonight's item. To ensure that we are continuously delivering safe drinking water, the Public Works Department routinely performs system maintenance, testing, treatment, regulatory reporting, and capital improvement projects. This year, or this fiscal year specifically, we've had a very ambitious CIP projects completed. And we have this one of the last remaining ones slated to be completed before the end of the fiscal year, which isn't a long time. But number W02 tank rehabilitation project, this tank project, it's industry standard to complete water tank storage cleaning projects on a periodic of 3 to 5 years. We do that to maintain water quality, keep the tanks in good working condition, because what we typically see is sediment buildup, mineral deposits, and essentially biological growth that can develop on the interior surfaces. So routine cleaning removes these materials, and it really helps us ensure that the system operates as intended and properly. Some background for the council. The city actually previously attempted to bid out this project in the last fiscal year, and unfortunately, we did not get any bids. But we didn't want to just leave it without being cleaned. So we perform a wet condition cleaning. And just to give council some reference, there's 2 sets of type of cleanings. There's wet condition and there's dry condition. Wet condition is when the storage tanks are still active. You dive in there, get little scuba gear and everything, and you're suited up to essentially scrub walls and get that stuff out of there. It doesn't do a good of a thorough job as a dry condition cleaning. And that's where you completely drain the tanks, mop out all the water, and you actually do, like if you were going to clean your house with like products, solutions, scrubbing, you really get in there. So with that being said, we did one under wet conditions, and that leads me into my next segment here, which is after the completion of those wet cleanings for Laquesto tanks 1 and 2, we received a report that outlined what the condition of those tanks were looking like as of 2025. In seeing those, we observed that there is still very much a lot of sediment accumulation in biofilms and observed inside the interior walls. And those were just completed on 2 of the 4 tanks. So we anticipate that the other 2 tanks at Pinnacles are in similar conditions, if not worse. Now, I don't mean to scare anybody. This is not uncommon for municipalities that have groundwater wells. This is pretty common. It's not unique to Soledad. So just want to preface, throw that out there. So what we did as staff is we repackaged our old bid that we tried doing last fiscal year. And essentially, instead of including just 2 tanks, we included all 4 tanks. So what we did was we went ahead and took advantage of the fact that we're doing all 4 tanks and included even bid alternates depending on what the prices were going to come in. So looking at the staff report before you, city staff prepared and formally advertised this RFP for the Soledad potable storage tank cleaning project to qualify contractors. It was advertised in the early part of this calendar year, January 10, 2026. And the city had a bid due date of January 30, 2026, where we received one bid from Viking Painting LLC. And in the staff report, you'll notice I provided a table and some numbers. Originally, we are only looking at the base bid pricing when awarding these contracts. That was outlined in our front end specs. We weren't going to be using any of the bid alternates for a basis of award. So with that being said, the base bid originally came in at 250,800, and with all the bid alternates, we're looking at a total construction cost of 480,800. The base bid was well within the engineer's estimate. It was consistent with what we had projected of 220,000. However, the bid alternates were a lot higher than what we've typically seen on other similar projects. So we reached out to Viking Painting, discussed some of the assumptions they use in developing their bid unit prices, and we were able to renegotiate bid alternates 2 and 3, which essentially ended up resulting in $125,000 worth of cost savings. So we brought the price down. So now we're looking at a revised total construction cost of $355,800 for the base bid and the bid alternates. So this project in the CIP only has 100,000 for funding, but because of the cost savings that we experienced in the completion of other projects in our water CIP, we actually were able to essentially get another $286,000 in available funding, and we're reallocating it for this project. So with that being said, we staff is recommending that council consider and approve the item before you guys tonight. And this project is in alignment with strategic plan objective 3.4.1, where it talks about upgrading and modernizing our water, wastewater, and stormwater systems for long-term sustainability and efficiency. And I'm happy to answer any questions that we have here tonight. And I'll also joined by our wonderful water resources manager here for any technical questions as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Before I bring it to council, bring it out to the public for any comment. Seeing none, I will take it over to Zoom. I don't see Diego, but no Zoom. Thanks, Diego. All right.
Just
So bring it back over to council for any questions or comments, and I'll start with Councilwoman Banuelos.
Alex, hi, thank you. Quick question. You said there's 4 tanks, right?
Correct.
So, and then, how old are these tanks? They were since a long time, right?
Yeah, they've been around for a long time, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't have the specific years where they went in, but they've been around for at least 10 plus years.
Okay. And then we maintenance them every, what, 5 to 6 years, maintenance them and, right?
Tanks were put in, aside from the first La Cuesta tank, which was the original tank for the city's water system, then there was a second La Cuesta tank and then 2 Pinnacles tanks. And I believe it was around 2006, 2007 and I can't remember which was which, but right around that time frame. So those are coming up on about, 20 years old.
Okay.
Those. And the original tank, I want to say 83 or 86, I believe. So that one's, 40 years old.
Okay. The reason why I say that is because, for public to know, because a lot of them are not familiar how old they are. And of course, here, South County Soledad, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we're like upscale compared to our local cities, because they always ask for help, correct?
Correct.
My thing is to, Alex, you said you put out for how many bids? 4 bids, and only 1 came back, which is Viking?
Just to clarify, it's one bid, it's one total bid package.
Okay.
Originally it was for the 2 tanks. The newest one that we just recently put out at the beginning of this calendar year was for all 4 tanks. We had to restructure the
Right.
original to include them all.
Okay.
Oh,
And-
it's the bid alternates that are on the single. I think that's maybe what she was asking.
Mhm. That one.
4 bid alternates, but those.
Oh,
are all
I'm
in
sorry.
the
Yes.
The bid alternate.
Yes.
Okay. Question is, I mean, this is feasible, and I want to say thank you, for for your work, even for the water plant too, because I've seen that, and, we do need to do it. And it's, of course, as I see it, it's part of our strategic plan. So we're again moving forward and, doing what we need to do for our community. And I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I believe you notified us of a leak today on West and Monterey. So thank you. And we've investigated it and we put cones to, we couldn't get, we need a emergency 811 call before you dig. And we
Right.
need to have some locates because we don't know exactly where everything is. So in the morning, the water group will pick that up and get that fixed.
Great. But we don't know if it's the main yet, right? It's just
No,
a
we
regular
don't,
leak.
believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, I was gonna ask about the budget, the funding is coming, but I found it. It's could you elaborate a little bit so that the residents can understand where the money is coming from?
Yeah, definitely. So the city has a essentially a budget for the utilities, water, wastewater, right? And we have a capital outlay fund where we have identified the approved CIP projects that are going to be occurring during this fiscal year. The city completed CIP number W03, the the well rehabilitation project, and that resulted in cost savings because it came under budget, 192,000. Same thing can be said about CIP number W05, which is well upgrades, and that resulted in cost savings because it also came under budget of 94,000, which we're going to be essentially taking those cost savings, reallocating them to this tank rehabilitation project that we have before you tonight, and using it all to fund the entirety of this project, base bid and bid alternates.
Nice.
Mhm.
And then, because we're gonna do a dry cleaning,
Mhm.
the question that I was formulating while I was reading this is, what is the water going to?
Oh, when we drain the
Do you have-
tanks?
Yeah, when you're trying to work, once you clean everything, you use chemicals and everything. So does that have like a separate way to draw
All deferred
through the
cargo.
water?
So
It's
the-
not like we're gonna drink some of that, right?
No, no. So what the process is, so we would draw down the tanks and lower the water level. And obviously we don't want to waste the water. So we would get it as low as we can. And then we would valve off the inlet and outlet gate valves on the tank so that it would be completely isolated from the water system. And then the cleaning takes place. And then we would not put it back in service and open those valves until we have clean bacteriological tests. And we believe that if we have to do any kind of coating repairs, it's one of the bid alternates that we would, some of those, they're all safe chemicals. They're NSF 60 approved for waterworks materials, but sometimes, and they're low VOC, so the volatile organic compounds, they're very low, but we might do what we probably will do depending a VOC analysis. So pending all those tests, and then we would put it back online. So the customers, the residents would not feel the effects of anything, any kind of, all of the residue and everything would be taken away during the tank cleaning, would not enter the system.
And I think that we did something to one of the tanks a couple of years ago, and there is a lot of water that we have to drain, actually use it, right? And then get it to a level. How long does it take for one of those tanks to fill again? Because I remember that we have to keep them about 80%?
For fire protection, we usually keep them, the levels high, roughly about 80% of the, the tanks themselves are about 32 feet, and we keep the water levels about 28 feet normally, and it kind of fluctuates between 26, 28 feet, right around there. And then, sorry, I forgot your question. So
So how long does it take?
For it to draw down.
fill
So if you think about each tank is 1 million gallons, and we serve roughly 3 million gallons a day to our residents. So, it might take, depending on if we had the wells, producing water or not, could take a half a day to drain the tank. So we would basically not fill the tank. There's settings we can do on SCADA to have the tank not fill, and then it would just draw down naturally with consumption.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Caldera.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. Well, given the, given the history, I was actually employed with the city back in '86. And I think that big tank was already out there, and I believe only once we had it cleaned, so I think it was it is long overdue now, so. I believe it's we're on the right track. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No questions.
All right. I just want to be clear that these are older tanks, but doesn't mean it's been that long since we've cleaned them, just to say that piece, and then to remind our public that a lot of this information is provided on our agendas that are posted by Darlene by 5 p.m. on Fridays. And so it covers a lot of these items that we're speaking about, including the budget review and the financial considerations. So I wanted just to make that point as well. With that being said, we still have quorum, so I will still ask for a motion for resolution number 6339.
Motion to approve 6339.
Second.
All right, and so we have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Bañuelos and a second by Councilmember Caldera. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Any abstentions? And Councilmember Cabrera is absent, so still passes 3-0. So thank you so much, Alex, and
Thank you, everyone.
to Carla. Carla, thank you. Yes. Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you, Carla.
So we'll move on to mayor's reports and acknowledgements. So I guess that would be me. All right. I see Darlene tired. All right.
Oh my
No joke.
goodness.
All right. So quick report. So I was able to actually attend. Oh, right. All right.
She's
I
in
w-
spirit. She's in spirit.
I wanted to say that I was able to attend a city event during the workday for the Sendero project. It's a great project that we have here in our city for our unhoused population. And there's been many moving parts, and we're really excited that we were finally able to have our ribbon cutting along with other members of our council. I also wanted to acknowledge my cousin that has been promoted to be a detective for the Monterey County Sheriff's Department. Congratulations to her. And I also wanted to acknowledge our police department for being very quick in providing information regarding some incident that happened at the high school. And I also want to remind our folks listening, I know what folks may say, you're not a parent, don't tell me how to parent, but I think it's important that we have conversations with the kids and just how severe some of these things can be. And jokes are jokes, but some things you don't really want to joke about, and it can cause a lot of issues and a lot of harm and can get you in a lot of trouble too. And I can hear my mom saying, a lot of the time these kids, they are just doing what they're doing and their parents are at work and aren't really sure of the things that they're getting into, and then they always get blamed for it, and it's not always on the parent also, because you can't always be watching your kids all the time. But I think it's important to have these conversations, and I do want to invite the school district to have these conversations with the students in collaboration with our Soledad Police Department. All right, and then other than that, I don't know if I have anything else to report. I was unable to attend the AMBAG meeting due to a work commitment, but I'm very excited. Kids are listening to their college acceptances pretty soon, and that's rolling on, so that's important to acknowledge as well. But yeah. Thank you so much. And I will turn it over to Councilmember Caldera for councilmember reports and acknowledgements.
Okay. I do have a couple items here. On the 7th, I attended the Little League opening day. The 9th, I was at Sendero for the unhoused community there, the ribbon cutting, along with the other council members. On the 14th, I attended the Historical Society event that we had this past weekend, and that is it.
Thank you. I forgot I was also there.
Yes, you were there.
All right. Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, on the 9th, I attended the MST meeting. I had to be there at 9, then 10, then I drove to the Sendero Grand opening. Then I drove to Santa Maria for unrelated option. Then I believe I was not able to go to the opening for the Little League, nor the Soledad Society. I had something to do. Oh my God, hold on, let me. I actually attended one of presentation from League of California Cities. There was mayors and city council members discussion on campaigns and other processes. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Oh, no. On Thursday, I attended an event for celebrating International Women's Day, and there were several local leaders that were recognized, as well as parents in Alisal High School. This event is done by counselor. We know her as Miss Rachel. It's done every year. I've been there the past 3 years, and it's amazing because you get the opportunity to see not only the leaders in the community, but also parents that are contributing to that, to creating that kind of environment. I saw this lady that used to play soccer. Well, she still plays soccer with my wife, and it's amazing to see those women don't stop. I got 52 minutes. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Sorry, Darlene, I started the pile. Councilwoman Bañuelos.
And I still have 33 seconds.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's wait for the
So-
clock to be ready. Because I know you'll take all the times.
I'll take his last 25 seconds in.
Decline. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I do have a list, so Darlene, I'll go ahead and give those to you, but I'm gonna do just my highlights, okay? So my highlights is I did attend on the 5th the community input for the new superintendent for Soledad School District at the Family Resource Center. And also it was just an honor to always every year to be in attendance, and also the MC for opening day for the Soledad Little League. And that was such a great highlight because I love, not only just, representing Soledad, but this is what I do for, our community. And thank you so much for the board for inviting me again. Also, I attended on the 9th with all council, the Sendero Housing for our encampment residents. It was a great partnership and collaboration with everyone that was in attendance. Beautiful day as well. And we want to say thank you again to our economic department and our, our dream team, the Step Up and Roxanne. And so also the opening day of our historical society, we just want to say thank you for all of those who attended. And it was great things that are going to happen. And also I did attend the Rotary fundraiser, the reverse draw, and also again, great work. And I want to say thank you to Don and everyone else that did the quick response of that water leak that was reported on Monterey Street and West Street, because we need to conserve our water. So thank you guys so much, Moises and the crew that went out there. And I wanted to use my last minute to share concerning a budget cut of Mr. Nathan Walker. It's a deep disappointment that we have to address this recent budget of impacting the Soledad High School, which unfortunately included the position of Mr. Nathan Walker, our esteemed vice principal. He is known for consistently going above and beyond for our students, setting a standard of dedication and is truly exceptional. Unlike other administrators, Mr. Walker has willingly dedicated all his time to Saturday school, supporting students outside of regular hours. His commitment is evident in the strong relationships he has built with both students and their parents. Over the years, students have come to know him and respect him, appreciating his unwavering advocacy for their success and well-being. And it's just disheartening for us to hear that it's a significant setback for our community and most of all for our high school students. And we hope the value he has brought to Soledad High School will not be forgotten. So as we continue to move forward. Thank you.
you. All right, we will now move on to our city manager's report. So put on the 3 minutes for, I'm just kidding.
No, you can put on 3 minutes for me. First of all, congratulations. We look like we're gonna end before 9.
Oh,
Thank you.
don't, I'll fill the bus or something.
So a couple of things I wanted to let you know. Thank you for having patience with me on some of the reports. I've been really up to my earballs. No, I'm tired. Eyeballs with work, but we've had a lot of reports that we've had to do in terms of the Haciendas project, which I've sent to you. I was able to on vacation send out a last remaining earmark. We requested 3 earmarks, one for the community center, one for the container village, and the third one for the police station, because we have a lot of needs in the police department. I wanted to let you know that I did talk to the folks at Breathe California regarding the air purifiers. A delay has occurred mainly because we're really stretched for storage at the community center. We did actually submit a foundation request to fund a container to put there, and we are also working on getting rid of the floor so we have space for that. Again, the Talk to Me technology signs have been ordered. Woo-hoo!
Yay.
So as soon as we get them in, we'll get those installed again. Some of the delays, we're just coordinating across the jurisdictions on those signage. Wanted to also let you know that tomorrow I'm driving up to Sacramento to attend the Housing California conference. Actually, the Sendero project is we're doing a panel discussion about the project. So we're getting a lot of interest for a small rural town, really doing a lot for homelessness. So kudos to the team.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to do 2 acknowledgements. I already did quickly mention about Jessica, but I'm really, sad that she is leaving us. She's been such a tremendous inspiration for me, actually. Leadership sometimes goes both ways. She's really been dedicated and really, I think, mentored those youth in an amazing way that's going to, pay dividends for years to come. So, and then the second person I wanted to acknowledge, I was in Hawaii to an early celebration of 25 years of marriage to my loving husband, Freddie, who, with not his support and love, I could never do this job. He spent all weekend with me at Senderos before the opening, doing all sorts of work, putting furniture together, gardening, and he does those things all the time. He's always behind the scenes, volunteering in every job that I've ever done, and just so happy to have such a wonderful husband. So I wanted to acknowledge him.
Yay.
So thank you.
Well, the ways when good ones are taken.
Yes.
That's what I'm telling my wife.
Or we can't find one.
Because I'm single, but
I
do
can't
wanna
find one
say-
either.
say thank you to Freddie. I think it's always very great, especially from a Latino man. So I also want to say thank you for sharing Megan with us. Yeah.
He's always happy.
Yeah.
He is the happy guy.
All right. Thank you so much, Megan. So we'll now move on to future agenda items. And I do have a couple of items, or a few, I don't know, couples 2, I have 3. One is, I know that we haven't hit the heat yet, but we're getting pretty close. And I know that last year there was a lot of conversation from the public about pooling center transportation for seniors. And so I don't know what abilities we have. I know that we own a van, but I know that it can, take some time, and I don't know logistically if it's possible, but maybe having some sort of plan for transporting folks that are seniors or that have disabilities to the polling centers, I think would be great. Another item is maybe having either a presentation or some acknowledgement of a formal complaint process. I've seen a huge increase of online comments about our complaints processes, folks saying that they can't get a hold of certain folks. I don't know how true these comments are, but I think it's incumbent upon us to address those. But I don't ever really like to respond to comments, but I did respond to one because they said that we don't do anything or walk around, and I'm like, listen, I did post screenshots, Mike, don't yell at me of me texting Megan. I redacted any sensitive information just to be like, I walk around my town and point things out all the time. And then we just kind of saw something similar happen with Councilwoman Bañuelos. So we are vigilant, but if there is a more formal complaint process that we can identify, or maybe even have our community engagement manager post some videos or have some sort of town halls or meetings or something, just to let folks know what our processes look like. I know we have some stuff on our website, but
Yeah, we had a social media post about how to report a complaint, but we can certainly go over it and do some more education about it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely, thank you.
Mhm.
And then my final request comes from just kind of situation going on that everybody woke up to. So having a conversation on perhaps renaming Cesar Chavez Park or the street. I know we had a public comment about that. That also asked to rename with Dolores Huerta, but I do want to wait to hear from the Dolores Huerta Foundation to see what recommendation they might have. The last thing I would want is to kind of re-traumatize someone with what happened by renaming something from them. So I just want to make sure that we have that kind of in the back of our minds too, and maybe see if the United Farm Workers have a statement or any suggestions. And then also locally, we have very good rapport with our Líderes Campesinas, and they may have some suggestions as well. So I think that would be something worth kind of looking into and then bringing back in the future. And then I will turn it to council to see if anyone has any future agenda items they would like to add. Councilmember Caldera.
Not here.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, I do have one. We have construction on the streets all over the place. And in this particular weekend, we had some of the area in front of the softball games in that corner in particular, and they left the big machines in that corner, which is really tight, very small place to maneuver to go into the streets or just turn around in the corner. And I was wondering if we could, there's something that we can tell them, either I know that they were using like 3 big machines, and it will be probably really hard to take all of them all the way through Gavilan. But if there's any way they can find a safer location for that, because that was really close. I had one person complaining about it, and I drove around and I saw that it was very close.
Yeah.
It's a very small corner, so that we can check on that.
Point of clarification, I'm sorry, is it on Dixie and Palm? I got a few calls, yeah.
And I would say, like, anytime I'm not here, feel free to reach out to Darlene or and she can put you in touch with Public Works so that it can be addressed, especially if it's a safety hazard.
I didn't say anything because it was over the weekend, and I didn't think that they were gonna find somebody to move all those machines. But if we can find, let them know to
Yeah, we
look for a
will.
better place to store them. And I had another one.
Is that really just a
Just
follow-up?
just a follow-up,
Okay.
yeah, a follow-up. And oh my God, let me
You can always reach out to me.
Yes, and I did want to say something about what is happening that with with Cesar Chavez and
Is it a future agenda item?
he went. No, I wanted to make a comment like you did, and
Mine was a future agenda item, that's why it was commented.
well, yeah, it's about that particular agenda item.
Okay.
I don't think that we have to do something, change something right now, because I don't think that the parts involved are completely innocent. I just want to wait a little bit longer than a week so that we can see how it develops and what else is coming. Personally, I think that withholding information that could save other people for years is not something that we want to use as an example. I think we should wait and see what else comes out. Yeah.
Okay. I want to clarify, I think that's what my comment was also, and so I'll move it over to Councilwoman Munoz.
You know what, if we can, I don't know if this would be on the agenda, Megan, if, I'm getting calls on what would be the opening day of the splash pad or just a report and stuff.
Yeah, so the I think it's actually usually starts on Memorial Day.
Memorial Day,
I think
okay.
it's officially listed, but we'll double confirm.
And then maybe try to reconsider that because I know that, you know, it is getting hot and we're getting shorter winters. So I don't know, but I just told them that I would, you know, mention that.
Yeah, we can take a look at it. Part of it is maintenance. Because it's a
Mhm.
heavy maintenance
Mhm.
and it could actually shorten the life span of the service.
Okay.
But we can definitely, I mean, in past years, because we've extended it into beyond, because I think it's Memorial Day to Labor Day. But we've extended in the past, I think folks remember all the way through
Mhm.
Halloween.
To Halloween.
Because it's been hot, most of September and into October, but I can talk to Joelle about a recommendation.
Okay. And then if you can just give us a follow-up update on with Scott on legacy signs, where we're at right now.
Yeah, again, I think if we can continue to let the process go, I
Mhm.
can definitely put something continue to update you. And if you want, I can put it into my report so the public is aware. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also to add to the comment you had mentioned, Mayor Pro Tem, Ansaldo Sanchez,
Is this a future agenda item?
to add that comment, what you had mentioned about the changings, I think we can just wait.
I think that's, I mean, future agenda items.
That
I
can
don't
be
think that,
discussed during that.
Yeah,
I
it can
think
be
that would be
discussed.
discussed during that, and I just want to remind folks that we're requesting future agenda items. And we may want to refrain from making comments on people's future agenda items, because then everybody can be like, well, now I don't want to talk about the legacy signs or the splash pad, you know what I mean? So just
Mhm.
keeping that in mind as well.
Mhm.
All right, do you have any other agenda items?
Another one is media. If we can just kind of also do an education of the safety, you know, the scooters. We have been seeing a lot of the scooters. And if we can, maybe us as council challenge ourselves to go and make a social media education with Eric, because I am willing to do that on my own social media. But as for City of Soledad and of course our police to have that, because there's a lot.
So,
we can adjust.
I will put that on the agenda because I
Okay.
think 3 of you have made a similar comment. So,
Yeah.
I think it would be worthwhile to discuss what that might look like and get some guidance or
Okay.
direction.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. So at this time, I would like to, I would like to actually adjourn the meeting, in memory and in recognition of all the lives lost due to sexual and domestic violence. We adjourn this meeting at 8:49.